Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back into the video from Mother's Basement. We've got the ones to watch. We got the ones to watch. I love these. I'm enjoying a few episodes of different animes at the moment, but these are always good to see what Jeff recommends for checking out. So let's find out what Jeff thinks is worth checking out in the best anime of summer 2024. Ones to watch.
Dear anime industry, can you please fucking cool it with all the great shows for one goddamn season?
No! Ridiculous! Keep them coming!
I got barely a month of summer left back here in Canada. All this Berserk to finally read, and you just barge into my house to dump all these new seasons of Oshinoko.
Oh wow, I hope he does a video on Berserk. That'd be cool.
Monogatari, Tower of God.
Yo, Tower of God Season 2. Yo, that first episode. Oh, second episode? Meh, but yeah.
Nier, Fairy Tail, fucking Kinnikuman's back somehow.
Hell yeah, I can't. Oh, I need to check that out.
Now, plus the new Code Geass thing Disney
Yeah, I need to. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued.
forgot to tell anyone about.
Yeah, they're terrible. Why are Disney so bad at promoting their anime?
And to top it all off, just look at my color-coded notes that I take when I watch every new anime of every season, so you don't have to. Do you see all this green ink? I had to break my own arbitrary rule by making this a top 11, and even then, I still had 7 anime left over that were too good for the bargain bin, so I had to put those in their own special section.
Cool.
I tell you, folks, it is not easy actually watching every new anime of every season to make sure you don't miss out on any hidden gems. Not to mention,
We appreciate the work you do, Jeff.
taking the time to do this whole thing right puts me at a 3-week algorithmic disadvantage to the people who just claim to have watched everything in the title of a regular season preview video. Not hating any players here, I just hate that part of the YouTube game. So, with that said, if I help you find a new potential fave today, please say thanks for all that hard work by clicking the like button before you go watch it. It really helps with getting my recommendations recommended to other people. Anyway, these are the ones to watch for summer 2024, not with a new apex predator poised.
Mate, the opening episode to this was absolutely
Take
hilarious.
over the anime ecosystem.
This scene was so funny.
Shikanoko Noko Noko Koshtan Tan, aka my dear friend Noko-tan, is a dear shit insane gag anime about Shikanoko Noko,
So
a
funny.
schoolgirl with antlers, which is, of course, extremely strange because only boy deer have antlers.
That's normally the
and
case.
for no other reason, because we all know antlers work exactly like that, and especially that. Co-starring against our dear friend is Koshi-tan, a prim and proper student council princess type character who used to be an extremely violent delinquent
She was a delinquent.
type character and will do anything
For people not
to
to find
keep
out.
her past a secret, which is fucking rough for her, let me tell you, because as we all know, one of the ways that deer antlers work is as delinquent detectors.
Yeah, we all know that. That's how they work. Yeah,
Also virgin detectors.
yeah, that as well. Yeah.
So basically she's Noko-tan's bitch from the moment they lock eyes, and they both know it. And that's a lot of the jokes. Nowhere near all of them, though, and some of them even involve unnervingly realistic CGI deer
I love how crap they look. It's amazing.
as, like, the whole punchline, which is exactly the kind of next-level, galaxy-brained gag anime direction one should expect from Masahiko Otas,
Why? What's he done? What has he done?
the madcap genius behind Yuru Yuri, Kotora-san, Mitsudomoe, and Himoto Umaru-chan.
Oh, okay, fair. On that last one.
Also, one should expect a legendary banger of an OP full of hilariously on-point references. Not that YouTube will let me actually play any of it for you. I may as well just say the name of our next anime and get myself demonetized already. Despite being only
Squad.
3 words long, Suicide Squad Isekai is one of those isekai titles that handily describes its entire plot.
The animation looks fantastic. I can't remember what studio's on it, but like, and some of you left comments in, I can't remember what the video was. I mentioned it, saying that like the dub is on this is pretty good as well.
Amanda Waller tortures some magic lady, presumably Enchantress, to open up an isekai portal for America to colonize and exploit, then sends a suicide squad in to go help them do that. Followed by another squad shortly after the first one goes AWOL and joins the evil empire, this time with 72-hour timers on their neck bombs to stop them from, you know, doing that. If you don't know what I'm talking about or what an Amanda Waller is, you can safely skip this anime. It was clearly made with the fans in mind, if not of the comics, then at least the James Gunn movie. The squad selection includes that film's breakout anti-hero Peacemaker, on top of the now obligatory moe duo of Best Boy King Shark and Best Girl Harley Quinn, appearing in quite possibly her sexiest animated form ever, thank you, Wit Studio, alongside a low-key kind of stupid Joker design who weirdly seems to fully appreciate and value Harley as the best girl she so clearly is.
Strange.
Guess not everything can be comic accurate, but quite a bit of this surprisingly is. Deadshot's also here, representing more old-school squads,
cool.
Unfortunately rocking a very new Killmonger fade, and rounding out the roster as the equally obligatory nerd who knows all the isekai tropes, we have the newest school version of Clayface, a B-list actor who got his shape-shifting powers from a tragic makeup accident, who'd probably be the funniest cast member, if not for the anime's particularly entertaining take on Goody Two-Shoes' Rick Flag. The show's writers, ReZero creator Tape Nagatsuki and his Vivi co-creator Eiji Umehara, clearly know the source material quite well, and it goes without saying they know their isekai, too, giving us a vibrant, well-constructed fantasy setting with a rare and delightful Sky Island aesthetic. Plus, a genuinely intriguing isekai hook that world's magic enhances metahuman abilities, leading to some very fun, off-the-wall action scenes.
Mate, that's the perfect excuse, isn't it, to just let them go crazy? That's boss.
Love isekai or superhero stories, this one promises a truly wild ride. Speaking of over-descriptive light novel titles, VTuber Legend, how I went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream.
I like how he started doing this again, putting which platforms to be able to watch it. Ha! I didn't bother I don't think this is going to be my cup of tea, but go on.
Is about Yuki Tanaka, a drunk, depressed former wage slave whose only solace from her thankless old job was the parasocial bliss of watching not HoloLive girls do their thing every night. Sadly, when she gets a chance to make a VTuber of her very own, the prim and proper princessly persona of Awayuki Kokorone just doesn't draw in viewers like her genmates, and she quickly falls behind them in subscribers, failing to even get monetized. That is, until one fateful night when, shock, she accidentally forgets to turn her stream off before cracking a pack of Strong Zero, the universal Japanese symbol of, well, let's just say this would be a Four Loko in the Four Kids cut. Though for once, what follows that sound isn't a mistake. At least, not the kind you regret later.
純粋無垢マジで母親になりそうになるはあどちゃっこなんだか建設のために法外な賃金で働かされてもいいカジ君はビール飲んでたけどガチゼロはないんかな
Awakening from her snoring stupor the next morning to discover she's both still live and at the top of the trending page, the based kaiji enjoyer realizes she's finally hit her long-deserved jackpot. And with this show, so have VTube fans, who've waited a long time to see an anime about their favorite thing that A, isn't nakedly corporate NFT shilling hogwash, and B, accurately reflects the culture, personality, and appeal of not just VTubers, but the VTube community.
That's so funny, though. Oh my god.
For many of you, Aoyuki's gonna be the season's undeniable best girl, but Saki Aoi, the implied kohai in Senpai Isn't a Tokonoko, certainly gives her a run for her increasingly large pile of money. Because not only is Aoi-san the type of go-getting Genki girl who can confidently drop an episode 1 confession to her cool, sultrily deep-voiced senpai, but when said senpai melancholically replies, expecting rejection, that they were born as a boy and dressed like that at school to reflect who they are on the inside, her only response is...
Wow.
Of course, it's not quite as easy as all that. For one thing, Makoto Senpai's never been in love with anyone, and there's a lot going on to distract from any burgeoning feelings between both classmates and a mother who quite vocally do not approve of his lifestyle. And for another, his best childhood friend, Ryuji, keeps photos of Makoto in his student handbook. Though Aoi's definitely not the type to back down from a little bisexual love triangle.
God, that face.
She's the type to blackmail Ryuji for a copy of those photos. So begins a romance equal parts hilarious and heartfelt, featuring both fantastic comedic animation and dramatic direction to sell both sides of that story, which is about being who you are and loving what you love, regardless of what anyone tells you.
Love it.
A lesson I think could benefit all the culture war tourists who review bombed this series before Crunchyroll turned off comments.
Oh, don't even. I hate that they did that. I hate that they did that. You should have just blocked the people that were making the comments that caused the stir, instead of just blocking comments altogether. Ruined it for everybody.
Failing to realize that yuri, yaoi, and cross-dressing have been a part of anime a lot longer than they have. But ultimately, I just feel sorry for those guys, letting their hang-ups get in the way of enjoying what is easily one of the funniest shows of a very funny season, alongside what are shaping up to be some of summer's heaviest gut punches. And don't worry, my horny cishet brothers, the anime industry has not forsaken us. In fact, you'll find some of the juiciest elf and cat girl tits you have ever seen in... Hold up. Thought I already did the squad. Wait, why was that bleeped? Oh, I get it. Trigger warning. No longer allowed in another world is the untold
This guy can't die, can he?
isekai journey of Osamu Dazai, here only referred to as Sensei for plausible deniability reasons, who's famous for writing some of the most hauntingly honest and human works in Japan's entire literary canon. And also for trying to do that thing YouTube won't let me say 4 separate times, including one success, which has made him the posthumous subject of a lot of dark Japanese comedy. See also Bungo Stray Dogs. Though in this anime,
Bungo Stray Dogs has been in my watch list for ages now, and there's 4 freaking seasons of it.
Lover Sachan can hit the flooded Tamagawa Canal for their famous last swim, they're unexpectedly ambushed by Truck-kun's grandpa, and Sensei finds himself before the aforementioned elf tits. Not that he even knows what an elf is. Isekai definitely hasn't been invented yet in 1948, and the first edition of Habet no Boken isn't due out in Japan for another 15 years.
Cool.
Though the attached elf finds herself quite taken with him, since his cool, tortured artist demeanor is so much less obnoxious than your average Kirito.
伝説の剣的なやつ引き抜けちゃいました。
こんなの初めて。さすが勇者様。知らなかった。すごい。
Unfortunately for her, though, he ain't about that wish fulfillment RPG life. He's Osamu Dazai, damn it. He's got places to be and himselfs to kill. Ideally, alongside Sachan, who might also be in this strange new world somewhere. Also, for being honest, the level up noise gives him a migraine. This definitely isn't an anime for the easily offended, but as a man who's been depressed and seen way too many isekai, there is something very cathartic about watching a hero just be completely done with the entire genre after seeing it for literally a minute. And coming from the mangaka of Love After World Domination, it definitely has the comedic chops to back that dark sense of humor up. Now, view retention-wise, I don't know if it's wise to jump right into another anime that necessitates a quick Japanese history primer, but alas, I cannot physically resist the urge to segue, so here's the elusive samurai, which does at least have the hype jump manga angle going for it, not to mention the breathtakingly beautiful Cloverworks adaptation
this looks so
angle.
good.
I mean, this Sakuga speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Also, the storyboarding. Mwah. And it's a real testament to just how juicy those elements are that this show has gained any traction in the West, considering it stars a samurai most Japanese kids barely even see on their history tests. Hojo Tokiyuki, last heir to the Kamakura shogunate, who narrowly escaped Ashikaga Takauji's 1333 coup before going on to lead a rebellion a couple years later. The anime follows his long journey to do that, aided by this hilariously sketchy priest dude with the power to partially see the future, emphasis on partially, who tells Tokiyuki that his ability to parkour out of danger real fast is basically a shonen superpower in its own right, gassing him up like, Hojo.
Run away, bravely ran away, away.
I didn't.
When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail
No.
and fled. Yet brave Sir
Hojo.
turned about
I
and
didn't.
gallantly he chickened out.
You gotta admit, that's some pretty badass cowardice.
That's
right
cool.
there. This show has some of the cleanest action scenes in recent memory, not to mention absolutely phenomenal character acting. It's an absolute triumph for every animator involved. And over at Cloverworks' sister studio, A1 Pictures, they're working even more Sakuga magic on Makein, Too Many Losing Heroines. The tale of Kazuhiko, a self-described background character who inadvertently becomes the designated crying shoulder for all the forlorn childhood friends at his school full of light novel cliches. Starting with his cute classmate, Anna, who puts an hour of trauma dumping on his conscience and $30 of trauma eating on his tab after he catches her getting dumped in a restaurant.
そんなことをやめろそんな悲しいことはやめるんだ
Oh, God.
She does offer to pay him back in homemade bento boxes, but those almost immediately devolve into convenience store sandwiches and bricks of rice because her heart really ain't in it. But of course, those low-rent, low-nutrition lunches just give them more time to spend on the fire escape together, gradually developing their manzai comedy routine / slow-burn romance, and us more time to bask in the show's truly fantastic character writing. Apparently, the original light novel was optioned for an adaptation before it was even published because it's just that good. And that enthusiasm from the anime's crew comes through in every aspect of the production. From the gorgeous movie-quality backgrounds to the very cinematic characterization through animation to the absolute banger of a live-action ED, which they went above and beyond to make, creating a whole new camera rig that lets them composite actual analog cell animation into the shots as they're filming.
That's
which,
so cool.
by the way, they also did on actual analog film. An incredible flex and a powerful statement of intent from a show that's as committed to celebrating the emotional power of nostalgic rom-com tropes as it is to poking fun at them. Makein's not the only show this season with cinematic aspirations, though. Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary, wears them right on its fancy letterboxed sleeve, filling every last scene with carefully considered shot compositions and bold, avant-garde editing choices that make each moment feel larger than life. A feeling that stands starkly juxtaposed with the show's intimate focus on the small and insignificant.
お互いにそうするって約束だからね。
そうやって私たちは穏やかな時間を作り出して
完全なる小市民への飛躍を始めるのだ。
Based on another series of high school mystery novels by Hyoka creator Honobu Yonezawa, Shoshimin asks us to ponder even more mundane mysteries than that show with equal seriousness. Where Chitanda gets Oreki and the classic literature club caught up in recovering forgotten words from loved ones or lost student film endings, Shoshimin's Kobato and Osanai use their neuroatypical detective skills to solve real head scratchers like The Mystery of the Missing School Bag and The Case of How a Guy Made a Perfect Cup of Cocoa Without Getting the Sink Wet.
My God.
Both of which are way more interesting than you'd think, thanks to impeccable direction. Though the real question at the heart of this story is who exactly these weirdos even are, and what drives them to suppress their obvious weirdness to, as the title suggests, become ordinary. An understanding we slowly piece together by observing how they process information and solve these simple problems, and how they interact between the mysteries. Like Hyoka before it, I expect Shoshimin will be a very love it or hate it sort of anime. If you don't care for contemplating minute, mundane details and watching intricate characters grow by very meaningful, subtly telegraphed inches, it will probably just bore you. But if that is your jam, no writer in the anime sphere plays it quite like Yonezawa. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian is one of those shonen romances. You know the type, about a nerdy boy whose desk neighbor is this insanely hot girl who's
My dress up, darling?
secretly has an inexplicable crush on him and constantly gently bullies him about it. Though in this case, it's not quite as secret as she thinks, since protag-kun Masachika long ago learned Russian for his Hafu childhood friend, and thus fully understands every time she calls him a cutie, whilst pretending she's just saying foreign tsundere stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that he understood. Right.
So for once, the stalking is on the other suspiciously well-animated foot. Well, actually, in this case, there's nothing sus about it. He just straight comes out and says it.
それがご褒美なのは一部の特殊な。
あら、違うの？
いえ、ご褒美です。
I respect the honesty, if nothing else. That crush isn't quite as inexplicable as a lot of these things either. Masachika's got some undeniable riz and confidence, especially for a shameless otaku who loses sleep over late-night anime and gacha games. Plus, the banter is genuinely entertaining, and not just between the love interests. The supporting cast is well fleshed out with their own playful speaking quirks, and he even has two male friends with distinct, likable personalities.
No way.
Which, by the standards of the subgenre, basically makes this Shakespeare. It's got a nicely animated and directed
that complex.
adaptation to match, too. Though that should come as no surprise to anyone who knows Doga Kobo's work. It's perhaps a bit less impressive than Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night or Oshino Ko Season 2, but their B-team still beats the panty shots off most studios' A-teams. Nice. Although if gorgeous animation's what you're...
This anime is so good. This is so freaking good. The story's interesting. The character's interesting. The animation's fantastic. I love everything about this.
Looking for, you should really be looking at Wistoria, Wand and Sword. From a plot perspective, this fantasy manga adaptation feels a whole lot like Mashal if it was written by the Danmachi guy, which makes a lot of sense because that guy did write it. Instead of trying to reach the apex of wizardly academic rankings to prove the anti-Muggle racists wrong, this melee fighter at a magic school is motivated by a kaiju number 8 style promise to his cute childhood friend, and instead of pretending muscles are magic, he keeps his grades up by earning extra monster slaying credits in the dungeon under the school. Also, on a related note, instead of punching his magic racist bully in the face real hard, this guy simply emasculates him by killing a monster that made him piss himself. So, yeah, make no mistake, while some of the details are slightly different, on a fundamental level, you have seen this entire story before, at least a couple times, but I promise you have never seen it look this good.
ただ、今日も綺麗だなって。
ええ、そうね。
Tatsuya Yoshihara previously directed Black Clover, so he clearly knows a thing or two about making guys with huge swords fighting magic users look awesome. And here, he pushes that expertise to its absolute theoretical limit. That's not Wistoria's only appeal, of course. Personally, I quite enjoy Fujino Omori's approach to character and world building, but at the end of the day, this show's main selling point is as obvious as it is simple. Just look at it. Don't you want to look at more of it?
Yes.
You should go do that. In a few minutes,
Every
of course.
Sunday.
I haven't even told you about my favorite new anime of the season yet, which is yet another comedy. This one an original from PA Works and the brilliant director of Ya Boy Kong Ming, which also happens to be about VTubers. Though in Mayonaka Punch's case, the V doesn't stand for virtual, it stands for
goddamn vampires.
This anime definitely is not out to take VTuber Legends' Best Girl crown for the season, though it might just give Konosuba's Best Worst Girls a run for their ill-gotten gold.
Ooh.
The story opens on our heroine Misaki getting brutally canceled and kicked out of the NewTube vlog squad she founded after an itsy-bitsy incident where she may have ever so slightly socked one of her co-stars in the jaw. To be fair, those co-stars are kind of jerks too, considering they fired her on a live stream, though to be balanced, they could have just called the cops.
最後になりますが、これからもどうか応援のほどよろしくお願いします。
Unable to tear her eyes away from the increasingly toxic yet evocatively animated comment section as the whole internet turns against her, or even get a drink without hearing about it for that matter, and very unwilling to apologize, Misaki decides to return to her roots, exploring haunted buildings for easy clicks. Though she finds far more than she bargained for when she bumps into an actual vampire who's raiding that long-abandoned hospital for some spare blood packs. I mean, they've only been closed like 20 years. It can't be all gone, right? Liv Sama's actually been asleep that whole time, so she missed Misaki's whole cancellation, not to mention the entire internet. Oh, and she still owns a tube TV, but nonetheless, she knows who Misaki is because she's been seeing her in her sexy coma dreams. And those have got her mighty thirsty.
All right.
うまそう。理性保つの限界近そう。吸いたい吸いたい吸いたい吸いたい吸いたい吸いたい吸いたい。
Though after the initial shock of, you know, f***ing vampires exist wears off,
what?
Masaki's prodigious content brain immediately kicks in, and she swiftly makes a pact with her biggest undead fan. Use them vampire powers to help her beat those traitorous bitches to 1 million subs, and the desperate NewTuber will happily let Liv drink her dry. Maybe I'm a bit biased in calling this one for anime of the summer. I did find its portrayal of comment doom scrolling to be as relatable as it is artful, but with an instantly memorable cast of girls who aren't afraid to be hilariously terrible and some of the most exciting and inventive animation I've seen all year, Mayonaka Punch is definitely one to beat for any anime that wants that crown. Not the only one, though. It's not even the only gorgeous PA Works original this summer. And on that note, I still have to tell you about those 7 bonus ones to watch I mentioned before we can get to the bargain bin. Starting with Nare Nare, Cheer for You, that other PA Works original, which is a lot closer to their typical cute girls doing cute things type output than Mayonaka Punch, albeit with a bit of a sports anime twist. As the title suggests, it follows a squad of competitive cheerleaders that's been going through a bit of a rough patch since one of their spotters was put in a wheelchair. With the Genki girl protag, who feels guiltiest about that, sitting out practice for months on end until her passion is unexpectedly reignited by a chance encounter with a half-Brazilian wannabe YouTuber and the local Catholic school's Kudere parkour queen.
Cool.
Parkour! Extreme! Parkour! 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 Parkour!
The Office.
Like most of PA Works' CGDCT anime, Nare Nare's got its fair share of doki doki moments that hit you right in the kokoro, though I will say the animation does feel a bit undercooked compared to both Mayonaka Punch and their non-original anime for the summer, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which I'd also like to recommend for its gorgeously faithful translation of the farming RPG's striking world and character designs, plus a plot that captures the charm of those characters and their story without just feeling like a glorified Let's Play. At least so far, it is an A+ adaptation.
This looks phenomenal.
Now, when you hear a title like Days with My Stepsister,
Yeah, I'm not. No, please confirm that it's okay to watch.
you immediately get a certain picture in your head of what that anime is going to be like. And not a completely inaccurate one in this case, judging by the series summary and romance tag, but I bet what you were picturing was nowhere near this cinematic and wholesome. This is a tale of two strangers brought together by circumstance to fall in love that quite deliberately rejects all that incest-pandering anime bullshit. This one definitely won't be for everyone, but if you like grounded, slow, characterful storytelling, it may just be for you. If you were hoping for something a little spicier there, but still with a solid sense of cinema, you might also want to consider Twilight Out of Focus, a solid
There's a lot of Crunchyroll recommendations on this one, isn't it?
boys love anime about a student film club making a boys love movie starring the boy-lovin' bestie of the director who discovers he's in love with them while they're in the process of shooting. Though, tragically, he's unable to shoot his shot because said bestie already has a boyfriend, which instantly is a much stronger premise than most BL stories ever get, since they tend to draw out the will they won't they by just burying one dude at the back of the closet with his Christmas presents. For those who can't handle pseudo-incest or BL and prefer proper biblical relationships between man and toaster, we've also got Autry, My Dear Moments, an adaptation of an acclaimed sci-fi visual novel whose moody, post-apocalyptic vibes are instantly elevated by its unmistakable Studio Troika sauce. Sunken post-Sea Rise worlds happen to be one of my personal favorite flavors of post-apocalypse, so seeing this one rendered in such vivid detail is a real treat, and I really appreciated its naturalistic approach to dispensing lore. Though on that note, surprisingly, this season even has enough genuinely great isekai that I had to cut one of those from the list. Dahlia in Bloom is what I like to call Karoshisekai. That is, a story where the hero reincarnates after dying specifically from overwork, typically leading to chill slice of life shenanigans. Though this one has an interesting twist. Dahlia doesn't actually remember her past life. Bits and pieces of it just come to her in dreams and as inspiration for inventions, which is very convenient because her extremely doting dad happens to be a Magitech engineer.
My God.
So expect the chill slice of life vibes to come with a side of great world building.
Cool.
Lastly, on the subject of unexpectedly untrashy fantasy stuff, I Parry Everything manages to rise above most of your standard RPG quest slop about adventurers who are underestimated despite being generally overpowered by actually making good on the concept of a hero with no particular talent honing his skills with the most basic starting abilities of each class to punch way above his weight class.
Oh, how's he gonna beat that Minotaur? Parry the Minotaur!
Nor is an immensely likable, diligent protagonist, and the world around him has that crunchy, grounded, immersive feel I'm getting increasingly addicted to with all the good fucking fantasy food we've had lately. So if you've already got a High Dive sub for Oshinoko Season 2, you may as well make the most of it by watching I Parry Everything too. And you can get even more bang for that buck with the first item in our bargain bin. 2.5D Seduction is the story of a 2D girls-only type anime club president taking pictures for and slowly falling in love with his hot cosplayer Kohai that's basically what you assumed my dress-up darling would be.
Yeah.
Sadly,
okay.
without that show's incredible Sakuga, so you're better off reading the manga for its still charming characters and weapons-grade
Give me
fan
season
service,
2 of
though
My
it's
Dress-Up
not a bad
Darling.
watch either. Don't get it mixed up with Pseudo Harem, though, which follows a drama club senpai whose incredibly talented Kohai uses her acting skills to switch between playing the brat, tsundere, kudere, princess, and various
All of
other roles
them.
in his harem
Cool.
as a joke. It's cute, funny, and pretty darn wholesome, but structurally speaking, it could just be a series of 10-minute gag episodes and lose absolutely nothing. Speaking of short anime, I don't normally include those on these lists, but The Magical Girl and Evil Lieutenant Used to Be Arch Enemies has a really darn good story, plus it's got that Bone Sakuga going on.
All right, because I did add this to my watch list as well, because this sounds interesting.
So definitely don't miss that. Also, Dead Demons Destruction isn't eligible due to being an original net animation that started in May, but it f***ing rips, so if you haven't seen it yet, do not miss that either. Now, getting back to and rounding out the trashier love stories of the season, we've got Love is Indivisible by Twins, a story about two twins, surprisingly. One a gyaru otaku, the other a sporty tomboy, whose only thing that they have in common is they want to the same childhood friend. The story's low-key kind of stupid, but it's presented in a very cinematic, classy, horny sort of way that really elevates the material.
Wow, I have said that a lot today.
Yeah.
Cinematic is definitely this summer's defining buzzword. Meanwhile, on the low-rent fantasy front, A Journey Through Another World, Raising Kids While Adventuring, is a laid-back
all right.
isekai where, instead of cheat items, the guy gets to adopt these cute, overpowered kids, which would be a lot more endearing if it weren't scripted and animated like a PowerPoint presentation.
Aw.
Dungeon People is better animated than that, but still not quite well enough to fully leverage its simple character designs, which look like they should be capable of ranking of King's level. The writing, sadly, isn't witty enough to take full advantage of its dungeon designer work-life comedy concept either, though it does still earn its fair share of chuckles. That's a complaint I can also level at Isekai Quality Assurance, though at least that one seems to be going for a more serious story on purpose, even if I do think that's a slight waste of these fantastically goofy monster designs. Its story of a glitched NPC who shouldn't be alive, following the hero on his SAO QA adventures, is surprisingly compelling. With that, we've finally reached the end of all the good to decent anime.
Nice.
Mostly. I could probably squeeze a couple more things into the bin, but frankly, neither of us has got time for that. We've got way too much great stuff to watch already, and I hope this list has helped you narrow your options down to something a little
A
more.
lot of Crunchyroll
Once again,
stuff.
I'd really appreciate it if you could tell me which shows caught your eye in the comments below, and leave a like while you're at it. I'm Jeff Thu, professional too much anime watching guy, and I've made way too many jokes at the end of these about falling asleep, but I'll be honest, that's what I'm about to do.
Signing out from Yes. Very cool. Very cool. The season does, because a lot of people complain about this season not having a lot to offer, but it seems like there is. Does seem very arty stuff going on, and obviously near Tower of God, that town's reincarnated as slime. Still watching those. There was one which I reckon he's gonna put in the trash, which was what was it? The strongest in the Demon Lord's army was a human or something like that. I'm actually quite enjoying that one as well. I think it's quite a straightforward, simple little story to follow, enjoyable. But yeah, anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video and want to be able to watch Patreon-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is the last help support channels. Greatly appreciate thanks for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.